I don't moderate shit. All right, I'm back again. We'll see if anybody pops up. Okay, when I was... There we go. When I was on earlier, I was going to do... I did one knife. I did this knife. This is a customer's knife in ironwood. And then I said I was going to do another knife, which is another customer. He was on here. And then my battery was going to die, so I had to get off. But I'm a man of my word, and I feel bad because I didn't think about it. Yeah. I feel bad because Louis, the customer who the other knife was, and my battery was going to die, so I had to charge it. So I'm a man of my word. So I'm going to real quick, I didn't realize it until somebody said, oh, that'd be really cool. It's how cool is it to see your handle taking shape in front of you? So I guess that is kind of fucking cool. So I'm like, fuck it. Phone's charged. Let's go live again. And then I'm going to do his handle real quick. And then if he ever wants to go back and look at it, he can see it get made. It's this one. This is a sheep's foot blade, hollow ground, despite what some people may say. Hollow ground. This camera never wants to pick up the choil. I actually need to change the finish. It's only at like 80 grit. So it's a cross-cut butterscotch micarta. Paper micarta, and then it's got red liners and steel pins and a lanyard tube. So I'm going to shape this handle and buff it in front of everybody. This is in 4V, 66.5 Rockwell, 100,000 blade stock, just like the other ones. They're all from the same batch. And then we'll very, very thin behind the edge. Oh, is it? Awesome. I don't know if it is or isn't. It's always weird because, like, I've only been making knives like 2.5 years or so. So I feel weird talking about what I do because I feel like it's like other people will tell you, like, maybe I don't know enough, but I don't know. Fuck it. If someone has a better idea. Is Burr on here? I didn't see Bert. No, No, Eric, it was Louis was on here, the guy whose knife this is, and I was going to do this, and then I ran out of battery. And then because somebody was like, oh, it's so cool you get to see your handle get shaped. Nobody really gets to see that. And I was like, oh, it is kind of cool, I guess. And I'm a man of my word, and I feel bad. So I'm like, I'm going to come on here. It is too thick and fat. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, look. If I just throw a quick chamfer on these, I mean, it'll be like every bushcraft knife out there, just slab scales. Won't it? So yeah, I wanted to do this real quick on camera. Figure I'd do it real quick. I like them a bit thick. I like my handles like I like my women. Thick without someone's dick inside of them. Here's what I was saying earlier. So this was just when I cleaned up. So after we get done with glue up, this is what they look like, right? Got a bunch of fucking extra pin material sticking out. All this extra, all this epoxy, all this extra excess micarta, right? So it needs to be, that's what I do here then. So then I flatten this out and then clean that up. The reason I flatten this is so I can lay this on the work rest and get this nice and square. See? I always try to explain things, and that's the thing. The way I was taught was like, if you can't explain things to like an 8-year-old, then you don't really have a grasp on what you're trying to explain, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like if you can explain what you're trying to explain, no matter how complicated it is, to like a fucking third grader, then you understand what you're talking about. So if I can make this in really easy, simple terms for anyone to understand, then I feel like I have a decent grasp on it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. So these were like 3/8 scales. These were big. I don't know why I bought 3/8. No idea. Maybe they didn't have them in 1/4 inch. These are 3/8. This is a little bit bigger. But then, like I said, if anyone sees this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this egg shape. I'm going to make this look like that. We're going to egg shape it. And these are ironwood. So, and like I said, this liner is a bit thicker. So here's what I mean. So thicker liner, thinner liner, right? You see that thin orange liner? So this handle is going to be a little thicker than this one. See that? Now, both of these are super comfy. I would argue this is a hair comfier than this one. But this one being a little bit thinner, if I could show it. This is going to be a little more EDC. Maybe not. I don't know. Obviously, this sheath will be a teeny bit thinner than this one in the pocket. Is it dramatic enough to make a difference? Like, would I grab one or the other? No, it wouldn't matter. But this is what I mean. In order to keep the scale thickness, see if you look at the tops, see the thickness of the top? Like the actual material itself, not the total thickness, the thickness of the material. Like, look at from the liner out, and then from here, liner out. I'm being critiqued by Tim Reeve right now in a text message. I don't know what it says. I just see him up there critiquing. See how it's the same thickness from here to there, and then from there to there? That extra added thickness is from the liner. See? So this is a much thinner liner than this one. So again, this is technically probably a hair more comfy because it's a little rounder, because it's a little bit thicker. See that? See, it's a little more bulbous. A little more fat. Same stock thickness. It's a little. There you go. See, this is a little more. This is more bulbous, more chody, some might say. But that's just a condition. Now I could shave this down even more and make it match this, but it makes it look kind of fucking retarded because then the liner looks like disproportionately thick. If that makes sense. Because I've done that before, and then I'm like, then I got to fucking grind the scales off and redo it, and then I'm super upset. So this one, same thing, CPM 4B. This is a vintage, like cream-colored micarta, linen micarta, and that's ironwood. And this is modern paper micarta. Get some takeout, some Chinese. Chinese is the best takeout. Everybody knows that. All right, so we'll shape this guy. Yeah, I get a lot of requests for butterscotch. A lot of guys like butterscotch. Vintage butterscotch is really pretty too. That stuff tends to patina like crazy. Like vintage stuff, vintage butterscotch, man, that stuff will darken like overnight. It's wild. That stuff will darken like in your house from like the lights in your house. So if people don't know this, so micarta is organic material, canvas, linen, paper, cotton, burlap in a phenolic resin. And that phenolic resin is subject to UV light. So UV rays and UV light will darken it. So if you have any kind of micarta, really, other than like true micarta, we use micarta colloquially for a lot of stuff that isn't micarta, like tarot tufts, not technically micarta. Rich light isn't technically micarta. Micarta is actually a trademark name from Westinghouse. So they'll just call it, phenolic composites or something like that now if you buy it. But we use micarta colloquially for anything like that. But that phenolic resin, UV light will darken it. So if you have like this, let's say this knife when it's done, if it's sitting on your hip, let's say, right? And this is sticking out of the sheath, or like that's sticking out of the sheet. Over time, as the light hits it, this will darken and this will stay lighter. I've had There was one time where I had some Westinghouse on a chef knife that came in for some warranty work. It was sitting on my table. I fixed it, and it was sitting there. It was sitting there either before I fixed it. It's probably before I fixed it because it was there for like 2 weeks. I got to it, and I fixed it, and then I went to go put it back in the case, and I noticed that the side that it was sitting up like this, it was on my kitchen table. There's a window there, a big window, was darker than the other side. So then I had to come outside and refinish the whole handle, grind that off, and then make the whole thing look the same butterscotchy color it was, because I can't send it back to them with 2 different color handles. LTK, look at this sumbitch. What's she doing? What's she doing? Glad to see you, man. So if you don't know that, like there's some huge knife companies that when they use micarta, they will take the sheets and they'll leave them outside for like 6 months to put a patina on them. So when they shape them, the tops will be darker than the sides. Like if they're already, let's say the thickness, they're going to machine them. The middle of that, you'll keep some of that bark or that patina, and then the sides will be shaped and it'll give it depth. What are you up to, bro? All right. Put on my cool mask. What? That's what I call it. Roll. There we go. Got this sweet, sweet mask. I'd imagine Kevlar is a motherfucker to work with. That sounds fucking awesome. Out fishing with the boys, that's a good fucking day. That's a great day. All right, Lou, this one's for you, buddy. Well, not you, Lou, but you too, Lou. I was just say Louis, but fuck it. Louis too. Lou and Louis. It's going to be a little darker. Hopefully it doesn't affect it too bad. Hopefully you guys can see. That's my only worry. All right. Let's do this. Oh, you guys can see, right? Yeah, that's not too bad.
we're going to do the top. No, Jared's here too. Come on, Jared. I'm doing some sales. We'll shake some handles. I just did the bottom chamfer, and then I'm going to do the top now. All right, there we go. So we went from square. Oh, wait, hold on.
Sweet mask. There we go. Send me my knife. So we went from square to we've now put chamfers or bevels, right? So if you were here before or anybody seen the last video, I'm going to repeat myself, but I'm saying this for any knife makers, any new knife makers that like are trying to figure out how to do handles. Handles were so fucking hard for me to learn how to do, and I was so bad at them. And I get a lot of compliments on my handles now because I work really hard. So I feel like I can show people this. So when I'm doing a knife, right, what I'm looking at as I'm shaping these handles is I'm sighting the knife like this, right? Like this, like this. It's a constant check. You're constantly checking it, right? And what you're looking at is this point, this point, this point here. So like the relationship like from whoop, here to here, here and here. And I'm looking at it this way, here and here, here and here, right? And here and here. This part right there. And then flipping it upside down. I'm telling you, a knife will look good this way, and then you flip it upside down, and you're like, oh, that side's off. And then doing the same thing. Looking at it here. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the distance from that liner to the edge here. So look at that, how much material's there, how much material's there. Does it look about even? Same with here, here. Same on this side. Is there about the same amount of material from there to there, from there to there? Does this angle look the same? Then I look this way. Do you see this high point right here? Where that chamfer is? Are they even? Does this line look even? Does this and this look even? That's what I'm looking at the whole time. I'm constantly looking at all these reference points to make sure they're even or as close to even as I can physically make them. Right, I'm going boom, 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 boom. So, you know, this is it even? The distance from that, the liner or the steel to here, does that look? I say the liner and not the steel because I'm looking for the thickness of this material, not the total thickness. So it's like, is that gap to that liner the same there and there? Is it the same there and there? Is that the same height? Same down here? Is this the same thickness about through there? When I'm doing this, do you see that flat spot right there? Right next to the spine? I'm looking at that. I'm trying to make sure that's about the same thickness the whole way here, about the same thickness the whole way there. Is that the same distance to here? Is that the same distance to there? So that's what I'm looking at the whole time. I'm constantly looking at it from every angle. And if those all look really even, now if I see a spot that's not, if I go, okay, let me look. And I'm always putting it against a light source. So like my left hand, this left side is always my weak side, right? It's not wrong. It's not right. It's only a mistake if you can't make it look intentional. That's really what it is. That's, you know, a lot of really good knife makers will tell you the best knife makers are the guys that can hide the most mistakes. If you make a mistake on one side and you can make it look the same on the other and it still looks cool, it's not really a mistake. It's just now part of the design. Now that's a problem when you have the same model and you're trying to put out multiple of the same model, then you can't really do that. But if it's one-offs, all you got, as long as it looks intentional, that makes sense. Like if you have one side that's got scratches and one side that doesn't, then it looks unintentional. If you've got both sides have scratches, well then it looks like you did it on purpose. Another thing I'm looking at when I was doing this part is I'm looking at that line. So see how it goes like through both pins? What about this side? Goes, see how that's a little higher right there? Okay, so you see how this is higher on this side than here? Oh, actually, that was a trick of the light. Never mind. No, never mind. It's just the way the light's hitting. It's actually about the same spot. It's actually in the same spot. Usually this side right here that I'm doing like here, this side's usually always like a little lower. I never quite hit it, and then I have to go back and fix it. But I'm basing it off this side. This is, when I'm doing, I'm sorry. Yeah, this side. One side's always going to be a little off than the other. No, I don't. Yeah, what I... Yeah, according to my girlfriend, Jacob, somehow I've managed to shape this handle and miss this lanyard tube. Somebody reached out to me and said he thinks Jacob was talking about the inside of this lanyard tube. Look, I am your average blue-collar dude. Admittedly, my hands are a little probably more numb than the next guy because for my years in the kitchen grabbing hot shit, you kind of get, like they call them hot hands from doing that. But my hands are not made, I don't have hands like a goddamn granite worker. I don't know if you know any granite workers, but those guys, their hands are like fucking 60 grit salt, fucking sandpaper. If you can feel the inside diameter of this lanyard tube when you grip it, if your palm is so soft and squishy, somehow it ends up inside of a 1/4 inch hole, that's a you problem. That's all I gotta say. I've never heard anybody say anything about the inside diameter. I think it was a friend of his trying to say what he said, like trying to help him out a little, I guess. I've never heard it before. He was suggesting that I chamfer the inside of this. No. Only thing I could think about doing would be like to take a counter bore. Like if I were to maybe take a countersink and go on the inside of this thing, like and drill it out. Maybe. Probably not going to happen though, because this is going to have a radius to it, and I couldn't get that. I wouldn't be able to get this flush, so that would end up like doing this topsy-turvy thing and fucking it up. That's what he suggested. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm just trying to look at every side and make sure it's even. So like right now I'm super lucky. So if you watch my last live, this side was off and I had to keep adjusting it and changing my angle a little to get it even. I'm just really lucky right now and everything is pretty even. It's all even. Yeah, it's all, this is all the same height. That's all the same height. This is all the same height. It's pretty even. So yeah, so there's that shitty plunge line. Look at those shitty plunge lines. Look at them. Look at them. Just stare at them. Stare at my shame. Does my wife know everything? She knows all about Jacob. And she came to me this morning and she was like, I don't feel comfortable that this dude rides your dick more than I do. Those were her words exactly. And I was like, babe, I know. I'm sorry. I'm from the restaurant industry. She's used to dudes having crushes on me. Believe it or not, it happens more than you think. But even this is a bit excessive for her. All right, so now that I've got this basic shape, so you see what I mean by egg shape? So I don't think I said it earlier. I'm trying to make this egg shaped. Like that. The reason for that is when you grip, this internal diameter, I guess, is egg shaped. More or better? Oh, more for sure. Come on. You can take one look at Jacob. No, he's got a dry ass pussy. You know that pussy is like the Sahara. That thing is dry as fuck. Come on, we only got it. Come on. You can look at him in 2 seconds and tell that's dry pussy. Come on. Come on now. Hey, ain't good pussy. No way. No, that's a whole. You're double, triple spitting on that thing. You got to refresh that every 5 minutes. So that's the whole point. The whole point of that egg shape is when the knife's in your hand, right? See? It fits that inside diameter. It also, and because of that, it prevents it from rolling. I'm not a fan of broomstick handles for that reason. If you take a broomstick handle and you really dig, polish from the belts. So people don't realize this, and I didn't. So it's funny you say that. I didn't know this. I thought something was fucked up when I bought the first time I saw micarta. I thought there was like another type of micarta because all the micarta we see in the knife world that's produced is rough finished. It's very rough finished on purpose. So is the G10. It's that made that way intentionally. When you buy pieces of, do I have any out here? I almost want to go get some to show you. When you buy sheets or even already cut scales of micarta, they're like glass, like all but the most roughest shit. That's maybe like other than like Taro Tough is not because it's not meant to be polished. No, I'm not. I went live again. I wanted to do this for Louis. Remember, I said I was going to do Louis' knife, and then I ran out of battery, so I felt bad. So I'm like, I'll do Louis' knife real quick, and I'll go live, and then he can watch it if he wants. Because you said, hey, how cool is that? You know, you get to watch your knife get shaped, and I was like, fuck. And then I felt like a dickhead. I didn't want to do it after that happened. So if he ever comes back and watches it, he can watch his handle get done. I might go grab some, you know what? Fuck it. Let me go get it to show you. Pissed on the floor again. Let's try to find some. Okay. All right. So can you see that? And this is vintage. So this is like 40 years old. But can you see that? That's how it's usually even worse, like more polished than that. That's how it comes. And this is vintage. So this has been sitting for years. So this has a little bit of texture to it. So this is how it comes. So when I first saw it, I was like, oh shit, why is it so polished like that? But most micartas polish up better than G10. The phenolic resin polishes better than the epoxy the G10's in. So I've had a few knife maker, like that guys that just got a knife making hit me up and be like, yo, where do you get the rough micarta? And I'm like, you have to rough it. Why is it so dark? Because it's nighttime. It's 9 o'clock here. Or the micarta, you mean? The scale? So that's the other thing. I mean, this one, like it's dark on top and then that cream color in the middle. So the phenolic resin that micarta is made out of is super sensitive to UV light, and it will patina. That's what you're seeing. So even like this. So you see how dark this was and how much light. Well, that's part of the scratch marks too. And this will get darker once I buff it. But any and all micarta is subject to UV light will darken it. So being that this is vintage, this has been sitting around for a long time. If you look at the inside, it's like a pretty, see that? It's like almost a butterscotchy color. but the outside's brown. Like a bad rash I return. So this is when whenever somebody wants vintage micarta, I have to explain to them that you don't know what's underneath this, especially with vintage stuff, because a lot of the vintage stuff was like random colors or there's a bleed in it. There's things in it that made it undesirable, right? Or sometimes just old stock. This one, I don't know. This one's probably, I have no idea how. I mean, if I had to guess, it looks a lot like Westinghouse type stuff. It's actually, you can see there's actually a little bit of fade up there at the top. You can see that. Yeah, the top layer, that's a patina from the sunlight. You can, matter of fact, if I took these scales and I shaped them, right, they'd be this kind of pretty color, this like creamy color right here. Within a week of you using them, whatever parts, like let's say the ass end was sticking out of your sheath like this would start getting darker than this. You'd see it within a week. You'd literally see it within a week or less. Like I was telling everybody before, I had a micarta handle knife that was in for a repair. And it was sitting on my kitchen table where there's a window. And it was there for like, I want to say 2 weeks before I got to it. I get it. I go repair the knife. I come inside. Crosscut. Yeah, I got some of that. It is micarta. Yeah, that's its industrial application. It's for a lot of nowadays it's used for electrical insulator. Back in the day when it first came out, it was marketed as the steel of plastics. I mean, I found pieces like pulley systems, gears for the inside of motorcycle parts, like on odometers and stuff. A lot of marine pulley systems and gears, like big gear trains and stuff for like marine equipment and stuff, because it's rust proof and it's super, super tough and strong. Yeah, if you and that knife I had sitting there when I went to go fix the tip on it, and when I went to go put it back in the sheath and I put as I was sharpening it, I noticed that one side was darker than the other already just from sitting on my counter. So I had to go refinish the whole fucking handle to make it even again, because just from sitting on my table it had darkened. So it's the phenolic resin. That resin, any micarta resin, will age over time. It will darken over time. The old stuff is just even whatever the recipe was, it's more susceptible to it. I don't know, this piece is probably 30, 40, maybe longer years old. Jared doesn't know what Jared doesn't know. Yeah, that's why. It's from the UV light. So this is actually a good example. That's what it looks like on the inside. So if you saw the outside piece of this is an inside piece. All the outside would look like this. It looked like this. It was dark like that. And then you cut into it, and it's this fucking pretty, like, straw cream color. Yeah, you can blue light. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. You can hit it with UV light, and it'll darken it. You can sit it on the dash of your car, and it'll darken it. Like I said, there's some companies, big manufacturers, that when they buy micarta, they'll leave it outside for a couple months at the sunlight and let it darken it. So then if it's already, let's say, to spec this way, when they machine around it, the top layer will keep that patina, and then the side layers will be fresh, and you'll get like a little more depth look to it. But all micarta will do that. And that's the other thing, like I was saying before, micarta, we use micarta colloquially as any sort of organic material, canvas, burlap, paper, linen, in phenolic resin. But technically micarta is the trademark of Westinghouse. That product they make is technically micarta. Like it's a trademark name, but we use it. Wicked wax, that stuff's cool. I like wicked wax. It really takes my autism. Yeah, I know, I geek out on it too. Micarta sheath. Dude, micarta is tough as fuck. Like, when I was first playing with micarta in G10, I would just grab pieces and just fucking like Rob Gronkowski fucking spike them onto the concrete, and you will chip and break G10 10 times before you break micarta. Micarta is so much tougher. It'll dent, but it won't chip or break. And part of that's because of the layers of material, especially this stuff. Like, this is canvas, I believe. Can you see those little layers running through there? Matter of fact, watch this. Hold on. Look at this motherfucker that I bought the other day. Look at this slab of micarta. Look at that patina. Look at that bleed in the middle. Look at that shit. Now, can you see? So this, okay, so here's the layers, right? This is cut. So you can see these look real similar. All right? So then when you cut it this way, that's a cross cut. Okay? It's almost sexual. So you can see this. Now you see it's not on the other side. There's some up here, but it doesn't go through. So that's what I mean. So let's say this was on the outside right here, or better yet, this is the outside. It would be dark. And then as you grind into this, like let's say as I cut scales into this thing, somewhere this stuff's going to show up in here. I don't know how far it goes. But you can see, try to see those marks. Like you can see all those lines, all those layers. And the little, the dopest drop, dude, I should just make like a, this just fucking, oh shit. Well, there's a sticker on there from something. I didn't notice that. But yeah, you can see, so you could cut into a block and you could get this, or you can get this. That's the beauty of it. Some people want, like, if you want uniform color, don't get vintage stuff. Don't get old stuff. You just get regular, and you'll get real. I'd be willing to bet. I'd be willing to bet this. This is probably fucking 3 inches thick, close to 3 inches thick. I bet you. I'm wondering how big a round I could hit this with before it actually broke. That's a lot of material. Because remember, Kevlar is just, it's a woven material. This is a woven material. So I'd be interested to see how much. But yeah, that's what you can do. Like, if you want random cool shit like this happening, then you go vintage. If you want real uniform, don't go vintage. Because you might get random shit like this pop up. I think this is dope. I think this is sick. This big old skid mark going down the middle. This brick of joy. Oh, there you go. So here you go. So just to show people, 4x9 by 14. I don't think it's 14 long. Let me see. Do I have a? I don't think I have a tape measure right here. Yes, I do. Let's see. Let's find the dimensions. It's see, 9. Well, 9 by 9 by 3 3/4 by about almost 2.5. So it wasn't 3 inches. So I was short. This is come on, 9. This is definitely 12 inches for sure. Probably 14. With a 30-06, probably. I'm telling you, it's a lot of material. What's up, Paul? Yeah, so it's a chunky boy. But here's, in case anyone, because if people don't, just real quick. So, do you see like this? So, if you cut this direction, this is how you get regular scales like this, and then this goes on the knife like this, and then we shape this. This is a good cross cut. Is if I cut scales this way. Some people ask me this all the time. What cross cut is? This sheet was only that thick. This sheet is this thick. So if I cut this way and then cut scales, like that, that's regular. If I cut scales this direction, see how it's cross? So if I cut scales like this, which I absolutely am gonna, because I want this, it's a cross cut pattern. That's what cross cut is. It's just literally cross the grain. Some people ask me and don't know. But it's literally, that's exactly what it is. All right, now I'm going to mow this side down, mow that side down. Then I'm going to chamfer this in. I'm going to bring this in and that in. So everything's going to go like, it's going to go from angles to like, you know, angles like this to like this. And then like this for Jacob. But like this to like that. More eggy like that. All right, here we go. I don't know. If you do, he's asking if you lose strength in it. If you do, it doesn't matter. Here's the thing. In order to do cross cut, you need a fucking fat ass piece like that. So most of the, like you said, it's used for electrical insulation. Most of that stuff is sold for electrical insulation, 1/4 inch or 3/8, because that's what they use it for. Stuff like this, like I don't know what the fuck this came. You have to imagine this was a piece probably 5 foot by 5 foot. This is like a fucking table. So I don't know what this was for. Does that make sense? Nowadays, they basically you only really see it in 1/4 and 3/8 because that's what they use it for industry. In order to find something this big, and then with this vintage stuff, like, would anyone want to diagonal cut it? You know what I mean? Because you're going to lose some, and then is it worth buying? Like, will it look cool, or will people not even buy it, and then you waste it? As far as does crosscut affect the strength, I don't know, but I don't think it matters. Like, it's like everything with knives. I think we get too we think it matters too much. This is going to be the scales on the side of a knife. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think if there is a loss in toughness, like if you drop it or anything, it's going to break or anything. Is what I'm saying. I think it's plenty. It's tough enough. I've never had one break. When I drill it, it drills just the same. I don't get any like extra cracking or breaking or blowouts or anything when I do crosscut versus regular cut. So I don't think it does. But if it did, I don't think it matters. Is what I'm saying. I don't think it drops it enough to where you would have like an integrity issue with your scales. That makes sense. Mexican blanket, I've used that before. It's cool. Here's the thing. Yeah, that's what I mean too, Jesse. I don't think, like, once it's epoxied on there, I don't know if it would actually, like I said, I don't get any extra. You notice material that's more brittle, like let's say carbon fiber, if it's crosscut, when you're drilling it, when you start drilling it. Oh, Bert, don't even get me started on that shit with the freehand edges. Look at that edge bevel. Do you see how thin that is? Let me see if I can get that in the light. Do you see? Do you see how thin that is? God, you can't even see it. It's like blending in. You can kind of see it right there a little bit. Do you think it matters if that's perfectly V or convex or concave? It's this fucking big. I've been saying this for years. People worry about that fucking edge, like what it looks like. It makes no fucking difference at all. The edge angle matters, but whether it's convex, concave, or flat, it's this fucking big. The grind matters, obviously, but that little thing, no. Yeah, exactly. Can get one, really. You want one, what, that block? Even on a folder, I don't know if it, you know what I mean? Like, it's carbon fiber is a different thing because it's, I don't know if it would make a difference because Micarta is so tough. What I mean by that is there's so much flex in it. it's not brittle at all. Like there's a ton of fucking flex in it. Oh, tried and true. Just email me or DM me. Add a choil to what? Zap 12? No. A choil to what? Yeah, I don't know. Like what I'm saying is I don't think there's it's like modulus of elasticity. Its ability to flex, its ductility is so high. I don't know, because I mean I've shaved thin pieces of micarta, just like bent them like a fucking U. Any good Canadian knife makers? Let me think off the top of my head. I got to think if the guys I'm thinking of are actually Canadian. I never pay attention. And don't call them Canadian. Call them future Americans. Because they're going to be. Hey, bro. Thanks, Justin. Noseworthy? Well, yeah, the Grimsmos, they're fucking, yeah, I can't wait for them to become Americans. That's going to be some of our, just think about that. We get to add them to saying a USA-made company. Kyle, I haven't seen Kyle's knives. I remember Kyle doing sharpening videos like way back in the day, so I'm assuming they're good. The Canadians are why we have this new KJ. No, I'm just saying they're gonna be part of our. They're gonna be like California 2.0. You know, like once they become the 51st state, all the cool Canadians are gonna move down to like somewhere down here south, and then the rest of them are gonna stay in like Quebec. The Brits are where it's at. You're here, Nikki. Remember that. You're basically an old school American. You came here. Knife celebrities. Canadian will now be soon known as Gay or Minnesota. Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying I don't want to disrespect them. Like they're future Americans. That's what I'm going to call them. I heard somebody call them snow Mexicans. I thought that was appropriate too. Geneva suggestion. Yeah, it really is Geneva suggestions. Yeah, he's not kidding. Yeah, well, Justin, if you missed me and then found me again, I make knives now. Now I make knives. Instead of talking shit about it, well, I still talk shit about other people's knives, but I make them too. Awesome, Paul. I'll check that. I've actually got, well, it depends what steel you want. I got some American Snow Mexican. American Snow Mexican. No, then you're just Americans. Then I'm telling you, you're future Americans. That's what it is. I know tons of Canadian dudes. They're all awesome. There's tons of them. A bunch of hunting, heavily drinking, good time Canadians. I'm telling you, you guys are basically American. It's going to be great. Stang makes sick fucking knives. What's up, Terrence? Yeah, Stang makes some sick fucking knives. I just forget who's this is my point. Like I know so many people in the knife community, and all the guys from Canada, you don't even know if they're just like they make cool shit. I just don't know who's Canadian. I have to go check. Cruer is the best. Yeah, exactly. If I make it, then I can talk super shit. Oh, really? Yeah, I do a ton. Yeah, I do a bunch of them in Magna Cut. Yeah, absolutely, I can do a tried and true Magna Cut. I mean, there's not many steels I don't use, dude. I mean, right now I've got 20 CV. Right now I got 4V and 20 CV on me. I do Crewwear, 3V, S90V, S60V, M390, which is 20 CV. Let me think. K390. Any carbon steel, Nitro V, obviously ABL. CPM 154, 154 CM. CTS, well, I can't get any more of that, but powderized 440C. Obviously 440C, that's just easy shit. Find me, either email me or my email is Steve Callari, all one word, Steve Callari Customs with an S, customs @gmail.com, or find me on Instagram. Same thing. It's Steve Callari Custom Knives on Instagram, and just DM me. Oh, all of them, Bert. All of them. I try to do different, whatever steels, like, how do I put this? I go through steel suppliers, and whatever's in, I like to use 100,000 stock. I like to make real thin stuff. So if whatever's available, I try to buy. So I've done and tested. I've got heat treat protocols for every steel I mentioned. I've got multiple heat treat protocols for every one I've mentioned. I've tested them all. I've done them all. I've done abuse testing with them all, edge retention, edge stability testing. There's nothing I'm not comfortable with using. So whatever you want, I've probably done it. Love my feelings a lot. Actually, Lee, Bama Knife Guy, got me this shirt. I've had this shirt for years from him. He got me this shirt. I haven't used M398. I just haven't. I haven't found any. When every time I see it, it's like the stock's thick. It's like, you know, like 150 plus. Here's the thing: when you powdered steels, they're always sold oversized by like 20 thou. So until you get to the thinner sizes. So like if you're looking for like 0. Like quarter, like 1/8 inch, it's sold at like 140. So then you have to fucking knock it all down. So sometimes it's only at like 150 plus thou. It's like real thick, and that's a lot to sit there and fucking flatten out. I don't mind taking 20 thou off or something, but like to take off like 30, 40 thou is just a pain in the ass. So I'll go to Magna Cut, I'll go to another steel like that. And a lot of guys tend to like tool steels like 4V, Crewware, K390, that kind of stuff. So I do a lot of that too. ABL is great, yeah. I use ABL or Nitro V in all of my kitchen knives. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. So whenever I take a custom order, I'm going to ask you what you plan on doing with the knife. Like, I don't give a shit what you want to do with the knife. I just need to know what you're going to do so I can make the knife do that, if that makes sense. Like, if I do a drop, it's all going to be just laser beam. Super thin, super hard, all cutting power. But if you come to me and you're like, hey, Steve, I want a knife that I can go bushcrafting with and baton through shit, it'll be the thinnest geometry I can possibly get away with for that. Like, it's going to be a lot better than anything else you've used, but I want to make it do that, if that makes sense. So if I ask everyone what they're going to do with the knife. If you want something to take some abuse, we'll use a little thicker stock, or I might just thicken up the grind a little bit. Maybe we'll do a convex grind, leave a little bit of more meat behind the edge than we do instead of a hollow grind. Stuff like that. I do that stuff all the time. To me, that's the whole point of getting a custom knife is only a custom knife if it's made for the customer. Like, it's made for you. So I'm going to adjust it to what you want, and and then you're going to pick the handle scales and all that other kind of shit. Venatus 8 is sick. Venatus 8 is sick. I love Venatus 8. I've only used it. I haven't dicked around with it yet. And the thing is, when you actually give a shit about the heat treat, and this goes for any knife maker that does their own heat treat, if you're going to do some abusive shit with the knife, like you're going to baton it or something like that, you don't have to thicken up the edge all that much. Like, the difference between 5 thousandths and 10 thousandths, it's double. So like, you think 10 thousandths or 12 thousandths behind the edge is still really thin, but to me, it's like, that's thickish. You can hammer that through anything. And then also, what's really important is this geometry, not just behind the edge, but behind that. So this knife could be 5 thousandths behind the edge, and I can have a convex ground knife that's 5 thousandths behind the edge. But behind that, this knife's going to be, an 1/8 inch up the blade. This blade's going to be 15 thou. The convex ground one, an 1/8 inch up the blade, is going to be 25 thou. So you see what I'm saying? So that added thickness, not just, so the apex will still be really thin, and just behind the edge will be thin, and the whole, the stock will still be thin, but up this, it'll be thicker. There'll be more material through the blade. So when you want to beat on it and abuse it, it can handle that. It doesn't have to be fucking 30 fucking thou with this big, thick fucking chunky shit. I do that all the time. Guys want to take stuff to go bushcraft and baton and like, you know, kind of do some silly shit with. I'll grind, you know, I'll heat treat those knives 62, 63, depending on the steel. Hit a nice sweet spot for strength and toughness. Grind it 15 thou behind the edge, and they're like sending me videos of them like hammering it through fucking, you know, old oak. And they're like, this thing never breaks. Well, it shouldn't break. That's the whole point. You know, keep the tip, give the tip more of a bolster to it. Keep it a little thicker so you can pry and twist with it. It doesn't have to be ultra thick to do heavy duty shit. Just production companies have to do that because they're limited in what they can do with heat treating with grinding. So they make, plus they're trying to make money. The thicker, the softer a knife is, the cheaper it is to make, and the more money you can make on the back end. Obviously, it's a lot more expensive to grind it thinner and harder and all that for obvious reasons. So it's more of a money thing. But yeah, I want to get my hands on some fucking Venatus 8. Venatus 8 is tits. Titties. It's just it's hard to come by it here in the States unless it's in a sheet. That's the problem. It's like it's hard to find bars of it. So like, sure, you can go grab some. If I want to go spend, you know, $1,900 on a sheet of K390, I can get it like that. But if I don't have $1,900 to spend on a sheet and I just want to spend like $200 on a bar, it's really hard to find bar stock of it. That's the biggest issue with a lot of the higher end steels is they only, because so few people use them, they'll only sell them like in sheets. Sometimes you can call and get them cut like from the manufacturer, but it's a lot more expensive and shipping and all that. Yeah, everything's thin. Like this knife, like I said, it's 100 thousandths at the spine. It's 5 thousandths of an inch here behind. Well, what will be an edge? I wonder if I can show you. The edge will flex under my nail. I mean, and I'll stability test these. I'll take these, put an edge on it, and I'll torque it into some brass and just twist on it this way, and you won't get any chipping, even at high hardness and thin. So let's finish this for Louis. For Lou.
I swear what happens is, if you guys are talking, I guarantee you.
It's like the comments all stop. If you guys are talking, I can't see shit. But so what I did is, see now? We've rounded that. And you can look. Be like, okay, like, let's see. So this side's a teeny bit higher than this side. So I'm going to straighten that out. And then I'm going to look here and make sure this and this is about the same height. So this side's a little higher than this one. Straighten that out real quick. And then we're gonna come in and start curling this over. Start rounding that. All right, now, so shaped. So now it's already comfortable. Now I can grab this thing. It's not going anywhere. There's no hot spots anywhere already before I do any real rounding or chamfering. So that's another thing. It's constantly checking it visually and then running your hands over it like this. Just stroke your wood. You know, you ever rub your leather? You ever just rub your leather, Mike? You know? And you can you'll feel if one side's higher than the other. Your fingers are better at feeling it than you are seeing it. So you could be like, okay, here feels lower than here on the same spot. Okay, I need to go back over that. You'll feel high and low spots on it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this to a 180 grip belt, go back over the whole thing the same way again. Then we'll do the rolly rolls. You know, what you see everybody doing on fucking YouTube. And then that'll be the next thing we do. So this is any paper micarta like this. You can't use even a slightly used belt because these scratches will show through everything. So whenever you're using paper micarta, here's another tip: just use brand new belts the whole way through, because getting these scratches out, because this stuff's so smooth. Like with with canvas and burlap and linen and stuff like that, because there's like a weave to it. It's like everything comes out easier, if that makes sense. This being paper, it's basically like acrylic almost. So it's like any little teeny tiny scratch that you don't get out, you'll see it once you get to the polishing stage. Like there's no, you might be able to get away with like a rando scratch here or there on like canvas because there's like a weave pattern, so you might not see it. Nobody will see it. You won't even notice it. Whereas this, because it's like so monotone of a color, if there's any little scratch on there, and because the scratches like you see are like it turns white. So once you polish this, it's going to look that butterscotch color. Well, those little white scratches they'll just scream at you.
Don't know why I put that up. I'm retarded. Now what I'm getting, okay, here we go. Now what I'm gonna do
is, there we go. Now I'm going to go back over the spine. So now that we've taken out the deep scratches, now it's a 180 grit. Now what I'm going to do is go over the spine and around here. This is how I get that shitty finish that you saw Jacob hold up like this. I'm going to go over the spine and everything with this 180 grit belt and make that all nice and smooth. So when I come back around, because I'm going to do some chamfering like this, and I'm going to go over the spine crosswise. When I come back over to clean it up with the 220 or the 320 or the 400, it'll make it easier. So it's basically like around, shape, around, shape, around, shape. It's repetitive. You guys are sending messages. I can't see them. Fucking YouTube's gay.
Well, that's good enough. Good enough for government work. What is this shit? What is that shit doing there? Nice freshie. I think I'm out of 320s actually. I might have to finish this. I'm gonna go get more belts tomorrow. There's a Q20 again.
Don't know if y'all can still hear me, but all right. So you can see how right in here, it's those still really big scratch marks, and then all the rest of this is real smooth. Dust off of it. So this is, you can see the big difference between the coloration difference. There's no little scratches all over, so that's good. So then this, what I'm going to do is, so this right here, if you're doing any, I said this before, but any new knife makers, this is a scalloped belt. That's this edge right here. A scalloped J-weight or J-flex belt. What happens is this scalloping allows this to bend. So what happens is it'll bend, and it'll bend into all these little corners and stuff. If you use a regular belt with a straight edge, even if it's a J-weight, it'll catch and it'll fucking dig into your micarta and fuck your whole day up. You won't be happy. So always get these. These are 2-inch, and they sell these all in 1-inch too. And if you have really tight little radiuses you want to get in. So if you're doing any handle work, obviously J-weight. J-weight means it's flexible. The closer to A, the number, the more flexible it is. The closer to Z, the harder it is. So get one of these or get a 1-inch, either way. 1 inch, you gotta be well, nah, probably 1 inch is probably a little bit easier. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a used one of these 220s and I'm gonna go all around this spine and everything, and I'm going to round off any little corners that are here, all up in here, and on the spine too. So when this is done, there won't be a single, every edge will be rounded. There won't be one possible space for a hot spot. So put this guy up. Get this used one right here. And hop to it. Whoop! Thought you had me. Need to invest in a better stand. There we go. All right.
All right.
And there we go. So still just needs a buff. Actually, what I'm going to do, I do this with these. Let me see if I can show you. Wonder how I could. They sell these super wheels at Pop's Knife Supply. I don't know where else they sell them, is where I got mine. For paper micarta and acrylic handles like this, what I'll then do is hook this up. Actually, I'll hook this up to my hand drill and then clamp the trigger down. And they're abrasive, but very mildly. So then I'll take this and I'll go over this whole thing to then put this, because this is, like I said, this is paper micarta. So it's almost like you're dealing with acrylic. It's like very, very, very fine. So any little scratches will show. So because I buff this way, again, with micarta and stuff like that, or like canvas or burlap, you can't see it because there's, you got stuff going on and it all kind of blends because the grain runs this way too, and it'll buff out. With stuff like this, because the scratch pattern's running this way, the very fine scratch pattern's running this way, if I buff it this way, if you look in the light, you'll be able to see it. So what I want to do is reestablish the scratch pattern this way, and I'll do it with these super wheels. And I'll hook these up to my drill, and then I'll go back over this very lightly, and that'll put the whole scratch pattern in that direction. So then when I buff it, it looks extra fucking clean. So there we go. So that's that. That's how we do that guy. So I got to clean it up and dust. So yeah, I'm going to go over it with this. I don't know if anybody can hear me. I'm gonna probably cut this off real quick. Like I said, I'd go over it with this super wheel. I'll show that one day, and then just buff it, and we're good to go. And then this blade needs, this is only an 80 grit finish, so I got to take the blade. I don't know why I decided to do the handles. Usually I finish the whole blade out before I do this. I don't know why. I think I forgot. And then this will go up to 220, and then this will be done, and I'll mail this out tomorrow to Mr. Louie with that sexy tip. I got a sexy tip. John from Heavyset Tactical said so. Sexual tip. So I don't know if anybody's messaging. Like I said, it doesn't show up no more. So I'm assuming people are. I just can't see it. I want to get this wrapped up, and then probably let's see if you can see. So see how I got that egg shape now, and then in this direction, same thing. See that? Let's see. Yeah, see, nice, and it's hard to tell because it's dark out, but so we're even from there to there. This is even, that's even. We're even there to there, there to there. There to there, there to there. This is right at the same spot that's at. That swoop is the same. This is the same. So again, it's the same thing. I'm constantly going over it, looking at it, making sure everything's even. Actually, this side might be a hair. I might have to go over this corner a bit right here. That corner might be, this corner is like a cunt hair thicker than this one, so I might go over that real quick. And again, that would just be, I'm just going to take it and roll it, slowly push that back over on this slack belt. But other than that, looks good. And these are even right here. That's even. All right, so rock and roll. Hope you have a good night. If there's anybody still on here, 2 lives in one day. It's 2 handles. Got to see how it's done, or how I do it. So, y'all have a good night, man.